The newly formed Change Starts Now party, which is spearheaded by former First Rand chairperson Roger Jardine, is today expected to unveil its policy and positions. Well, the movement, launched in mid-December, has said it wants to work with like-minded organizations who are committed to building a coalition to unseat the ANC from power and center the voices of the communities in their politics. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo, live for us at the Women's Jail at the Constitution Hill. That's the venue of this particular gathering. Ziyanda, good morning to you. A number of people will be wondering, this political party, very new, was launched in December, but the leadership disappeared in December while other people were campaigning. Talk to us about how they plan to go to the length and breadth of South Africa to campaign for votes in such a short space of time.
That's right. In fact, if you're going to be taking on the ANC, which for all intents and purposes has one of the most and best well-oiled machinery, it will be interesting to hear how Change Starts Now actually plans to penetrate all corners of the country, which is where the ANC is. That's one of its greatest strengths. And I'm mentioning the ANC because this movement has said that it wants to work with like-minded people from civil society to other political organizations and movements to create a coalition government to bring about change. And so where were they in December? How do they plan to speak to the electorate when they are yet another political entity on the big buffet that is going to be on display ahead of the 2024 polls? And if the rumors of having the elections sometime in May are true, they have just less than 5 months to actually get their act together and convince South Africans that they are who they say they are and that they must cast their ballot next to their name.
Under Roger Jardine, who is he? For many people, this will be a name that is unfamiliar, but I suspect in the political circles or passageways, that's a name that is known very well.
That's right. I mean, in the ANC circles in particular, in the liberation movement circles, his family and himself are known to have played a pivotal role in the struggle for freedom. But that's not necessarily something that is known by all South Africans. You can ask, does someone in Ngcobo know who Roger Jardine is? Someone sitting in Lephalale know who Roger Jardine is? What is their campaign strategy? Today they're here to tell us about their policy and position. I wonder then whether or not it's too late to actually be doing that, but also fully remembering that there were rumors when they launched that they could perhaps be working with that multi-party charter, which they've since dismissed, but perhaps then as conversations and negotiations continue, that might change. But quite clear from Change Starts Now is the issue around a coalition, a government, which of course we know the ANC is not really keen on having a discussion around. But issues of political maturity, for an example, come to play. And questions have been asked, why couldn't they team up with parties like Rise Mzansi, who have quite a similar, in some aspects, fashioning in terms of how they've positioned themselves. And again, Oli, how are they going to go about then their election campaign? Because, for an example, Rise Mzansi has really, emphasized door-to-door campaigning as a part of how they will approach this election, as opposed to having election rallies. We've seen the ANC going back to that as well, as a tool to really gauge the temperament of the electorate. So we need to hear all of that, even in terms of policy positions. What are their views on the NHI bill? What are their views on dealing with our energy crisis? And again, time is of the essence, and it's a fairly new party, and it doesn't bode well then for the speculation that he may be fronting for big business, which is something that has been on the rumor mill, at least within the political circles.
Our senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, live for us there at the Constitution Hill. Thank you very much for that update.